You're in for a scare. It's time for the Tales from the Crawlspace podcast. Another Morbid Stories episode.
Welcome once again, boys, girls, and cheese bags, to Tales from the Crawlspace podcast. I am your dead inside co-host, Jack. And across the country is the Mr. Totally Unprofessional and Seeing in Stereo, Brett Harvey.
For the first fucking time in God knows how long, I am seeing in stereo, and I love it. And my God, I gotta talk to you, man. That dude that did the intro, I think he needs to roll him a little smaller next time because he's got a hell of a cough on his hands.
Gave a little bit of the.
He did the hot tour.
Well, I tell you what, I got plans for that boy. I'm going to have him up here right after his birthday. His birthday is towards the end of June. It'll be his 21st birthday. So me and his godfather are going to get him up here on the mountain. We're going to put big old tomahawk steaks on the grill and have some adult beverages.
When is this?
His birthday is June 24th.
Mm-hmm. As the fates would have it. Damn. Because you and I were going to get together and take him out to a titty bar and feed him some steaks and and then we were going to wake up and have a mustache kind of morning and serve hash browns and get him a hooker.
Whatever I'm sure he'll still be up for at least most of that.
Oh yeah, well hell yeah, God damn, who wouldn't be?
Yeah.
But, yeah. So, all right. We are TFTC live, folks. So, I'm looking over at the studio chat, not seeing a fucking thing. Where the hell are all y'all?
Well, we got two people out there watching. We just ain't got nobody chatting.
Okay. Well, you got the watchers, and I'm looking for the chatters. I'm looking for my regulars, man. So, bring it on. Here we are. I know we were about half an hour late, but my spousal unit worked today. So, I got to feed her before we get on the show. And,
of course.
Yeah. So, anyway. So before we get into the meat and taters of this, I want to talk to everybody. As you know, everybody on PCHD, Pest Control Humor Depot, my favorite group, knows that I've been a little bit down on my luck, and the love that everybody has shown me has been extraordinary, and I am just incredibly humbled. From the messages, the well wishes, the love, the money, everybody sent, and I can't thank you enough. And it's humbling to the point of embarrassment. And so I just want to. I don't know what to say other than thank you. So so thank you, every one of you. It's been probably one of the toughest moments of my life, dealing with this. And so I just wanted to let y'all know how much I really love and appreciate everybody.
Well, I was telling you when everything was happening, and I'll tell you again, you've become a dad to over 10,000 people on the depot. And a lot of people look up to you. A lot of people rely on you. And you're a lot of things to a lot of people. And they're just showing you the love back that you've always shown them. So, turnabout's fair play, both bad and good. So
I don't deserve it. But again, thank you, everybody. I just want to let you know that probably by the end of not this coming week, but the following week, I'm going to be back at it. I've gotten to the point where I don't have to wear the patch anymore. And the bubble in my eyes getting smaller, and so things are taking care of themselves. And good, I could not have gotten to this point without the love and support of everybody on Pest Control Humor Depot, my favorite group. And so I just want to get all that sappy shit out of the way, so we can get down to the meat and potatoes of what we're talking about tonight, which is Morbid Stories.
Oh, we got Mario and Brandon are in the chat right now. Good to see both of you out there.
Where the fuck, man? It's like, what's the deal with my chat anymore?
Are you on? You're not on live stream chat, damn it!
I'm not. I'm on studio chat again. Jesus H Christ.
Come on, damn it!
What the hell, man? Where is it at? I can't get on studio, or I can't get on chat?
Go to the right-hand side of the screen, hit chat, and then you'll see up top a little red thing that says live on it. Go to live chat.
Okay. All I've got is... Okay, there we go. Live stream chat. There he is, Mario and Brandon. Oh, my God. Okay.
Hot damn.
Yeah, I fucked up.
That's all right. Well, morbid stories. I know that technicians go into so many damn houses and see so many people. I mean, if you had a nickel for every house you've been in, if you've been doing it more than just a year, you'd have a good chunk of change in your pocket. But usually the law of averages catches up with you, and you end up coming across something that you really wish you didn't have to come across.
Oh, hell yeah.
We've got some great stories this evening. I've got a story of my own. And I remember, Brad, I remember last time, right around the Halloween last year, you told me that you had to jump over a body.
Yes, I did, Jack. It was one of the it was the premier homeless mission in downtown Indianapolis, my fair city. I had just arrived at the location to do the service. I had to do this early in the morning, say around 5-ish or whatnot, so I could get down there, get downstairs, take care of the kitchen before everybody got there. The homeless people and the workers and stuff, volunteers to provide a hot meal for our less than fortunate Hoosiers. And so I get there, and right as I pull it onto the curb to go into the place, an ambulance comes right behind me. Usually I have to go through a string of flaming hoops to get into this building. Not today, because the ambulance was there. I followed right in behind them. They were busy dealing with the check-in box in front. I went right behind them. I was heading down to the basement to take care of my job, and lo and behold, there's a homeless guy laying there dead in front of the doorway to the basement.
Oh, boy.
Basically what I did, he had a blanket over him, so I really didn't see who he was or whatnot. What I did was I opened the door, I threw my gear into the landing, and just grabbed the doorway and hopped right over the fucker and got downstairs and got my business done. Not my proudest moment, but it was a moment where I actually got the job done. And after I got done with it, everything, I texted my boss, let him know what was going on. And basically all he said was pictures or it didn't happen. It's like, who the fuck's going to take pictures of that?
That would have been my response. I would have been like,
well, hell yeah. Jack the boss would have said that, but
picture didn't happen.
Pictures or it didn't happen. But yeah, that's what happened. I actually stepped over a dead person to get a fucking service done for a company that I don't even own. So yeah, it was something else.
Oh, Rodney showed up.
Hey, Rodney! Well, Brandon, the longest week dude.
Yeah, it has been. I've heard a lot of people talk about how long of a week it was. I know that.
Oh hell yeah.
Miss Jenny from the Pastrogen podcast says that she's been getting jackhammered in the doo-doo hole.
Oh, the cheese daughter. Yeah. She's been talking to me, talking about how she's been getting reamed, and so yeah, it's chronic. It's totally chronic. So and I can't believe I'm actually looking forward to getting in there and getting reamed myself, because I'm fucking done with this fucking medical shit.
Yeah, I guess for a day or two sitting around is pretty good, but after a while you'd be like, man, I got to do something.
Hell yeah, it's like I mean, look at me, man. I look like my dad anymore. With nothing wrong with that, but my dad's been retired for 30 years now, I think. But
well, I'll tell you, being retired, you figure, I got to do something. Sometimes that something is nothing, and I'm okay with it.
Nothing wrong with that. You're retired, so
yeah, right.
But you always manage to have something going on, be it your hummingbirds or your ribeye steaks or your something. And to see
my boy, and I'm going to
got to see your boy.
I'm going to military school tomorrow. As this weekend is our alumni weekend. It'll be my 36th year that I've been graduated. From Fort Union Military Academy, and I'm going to go ahead and pimp out Tony right now because I'm taking my tumbler with me.
Oh, let's go ahead and talk about Tony real quick. So let's get his ass out of the way. But yeah, I mean, what could be said about the Tony Spangler tumbler that hasn't already been said time and time again?
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
take a look at the graphics on that. Look at that handsome motherfucker right there with the cigar.
Handsome.
And then you come over the other side, you got another handsome stud waiting for you right there, right around the corner. Yeah. Jack and I, you order this particular tumbler, Jack and I will be spit roasting you with every sip.
That's right.
And the graphics. I mean, look at the lettering on that. I mean, this tumbler here is at least a year old now. And just look at it, man. It is held up over washing and washing and washing because I am OCD and I gotta have clean shit to drink out of.
This one's easily a year old because I've had this since the last Alumni Day last year, so it's easily a year old.
There you go.
Now, just Jack, as gorgeous as the day I got it.
Mine is full, so I would be spilling shit all over myself if I was to try to display what's going on underneath.
Well, you did say spit roasting, so you know which end I'm going to get because I do love the rubber bottom.
Fucking A, that's right. Yep, there you go. And that thing's not going to go anywhere. You set that rubber bottom on a hard surface, and it's not going anywhere. But Jack will make sure that it does. And
it's a hard surface, baby.
Oh hell yeah, buddy! And I tell you what, though, any time that you get a Tony Spangler tumbler, it's going to come with a little something extra for you.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, it can only be the one thing, buddy. It's got to be that stainless steel, surgical grade, urethral sounding rod with the curved tip. It's a surprise every time you get one. You may get one with the curved tip. You may get one that's absolutely straight. Either way, it's going to take care of that scar tissue for you. Exactly. Peyronie's disease, not a problem. Tony can handle it.
Slip up your penis.
Absolutely. And you want something funky on the tumbler, Tony will take care of you. And so I mean, it's just an all around a good deal. It's win-win. So ladies and gentlemen, if you got that need for a great tumbler that's going to keep your cold stuff cold and your hot stuff hot, something that's not going to slip off when you're getting too drunk and maybe knock it off the desk. And, if you're trying to piss everything out and you can't, there's only one place to go.
If you got Peyronie's, reach for Tony. Steal urethral sounding rods.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, how about that jingle, man? Let's talk about a little bit who gave it to us.
That is Mr. JT Story, my handsome and almost 21-year-old son, JT Story. If you go to Facebook, he has a page called JT Story VO, which means voiceovers. And he will do jingles, music, podcast intros like he does for us every show, like he's done for the Pastor Jim podcast, like he's done for the special episode of Shit Goes On in Our Heads. He's done episode intros for a lot of different shows, and he'll be happy to do one for you. Contact him through the JT Story VO page on Facebook.
What a guy, man. That JT, I'm telling you what, And to think that right now he's only 20 years old and is able to do this stuff. This guy is a fucking juggernaut of voiceovers and jingles. So definitely take a look at him. I mean, your business will thank you.
Yes,
absolutely. So we got quite a few stories tonight, Jack.
We do.
So I've got one. A lot of people ask me to keep these anonymous. So I think we're just going to go ahead and keep all of them anonymous, just to make sure that we don't fuck up and spill the beans on somebody. Okay.
Okay. So now, if yours wasn't supposed to be anonymous and we read it anonymous, just know that we certainly appreciate it and we love you for giving it to us. But just in case, we don't want anybody to get in trouble, so we just want to be sure.
Positive. Yeah. We don't. Yeah. We're not trying to take your thunder away from you anyway. No, we just want to make sure everybody's safe because this is one of those safe spaces, Jack.
The safe space.
It's a safe space. Yes, we are all welcome here.
It's a warm
your
and
life
safe
matters.
Space.
So anyway, let's go. Let's get on with the first one. Okay, this is anonymous. I know you're listening, so you know who you are. So 3 years ago, I got the nickname Grim Reaper from our admin team. So one day I go to an apartment complex that's ran by, let's say, Hell's Gate. The maintenance man and myself are going door to door knocking and announcing that we're coming in. Well, we get to one of those last apartments on the schedule and we knock 2 or 3 times. Normally, this is a tenant who is always home. She's very nice, always pleasant, however, no answer. Her neighbor came out and said, yeah, I haven't seen her in a couple days, not sure where she's at. So the maintenance man proceeds to put the key in the door, knock one more time, and slowly push the door open. By this time, I noticed a buildup of flies in the window, swarming around her AC unit with an odor. And before I could get the words out, don't open it, he swings the door open. To having her face down in a puddle of her own blood. The EMTs and coroners showed up and said it looked like she had a heart attack, and she'd been about 3 or 4 days, that the blood was probably from a broken nose. The very next day, in a completely different city, I go to an extended stay hotel. I get there, and I'm waiting for the hotel manager who lives on the property to come up and give me the list of vacant rooms she wants us to treat. Her assistant said she saw her earlier that morning, but hadn't seen her in a couple hours. One of the maintenance guy goes around looking for her, and they find her in her rocking chair, gone.
Oh.
2 days later, I go to a different property. Oh, this guy is fucking the Grim Reaper. Hell yeah.
1,000.
Shit yeah, man. 2 days later, I go to a different property ran by Hell's Gates. And because they were short-staffed, I had the same maintenance man with me at this property in a different town. We get to 2 buildings, and we knock. No answer. Go inside and don't see anything unusual at all, except for the gentleman who lived in this apartment was sleeping on a futon. I looked at the maintenance man and said, hey, is he alive? Because we're being loud, and he didn't move. Maintenance man walked over to the guy, looked at him, and said, yeah, he's alive, so are you sure? He goes, yeah. Okay, well, we finish up the property and we go home. The next month, I come back to that property. I'm talking to the property manager to find out that the gentleman in that apartment had a welfare check done on him 2 days later, to which the fire department found him gone in the same spot. I'm not sure what the record is for finding folks unalived on their route, but I need a drink after all that.
Yeah, I would too.
Oh, man. My God, man. What the fuck?
3 for 3.
Holy shit. Yeah, right? I mean, you poor fucker. And you're still doing this. That says a lot about your character.
Yeah. Yeah. We've got friends that have told us stories before about seeing a whole bunch of them. Now, I have to say, our Morbid episode, the very first one, the very first season of Tales from the Crawl Space back in 2020, we did a Morbid episode. I think it was like the second or third episode we did. And I told a story then, which I'll tell now for people who were new to the show and haven't gone all the way back to the archive yet, because we are, 110 some episodes now?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
We got a good library going. So I was in Martinsburg, West Virginia, doing an apartment complex, and there was this one lady who would never let us in, ever. Mm-hmm. She would duct tape the seams of her door. She would not allow you to come in. She changed. She put a chain on the door, so if you were trying to get in, she was in there, you couldn't get the door open.
Yeah. Now,
I'm usually followed around by a maintenance guy. He has the keys. He lets me in the apartments. And I was doing rotations, so I was doing 2 buildings a visit. And I was about halfway through the second building, and something comes over the little 2-way radio the maintenance guy has going, hey, she's gone. Can you go over there and take care of her room? And I looked at him. He goes, oh, remember that lady that won't let us in? I'm like, yeah. He goes, well, she's gone, so that means the chain's not on the door. So we went down to that apartment. He let me in. And the door from the duct tape holding from the inside of the door on the seam of the door.
Yeah.
So walk in, smells off, but a lot of apartments smell off, but not dead. Yeah. So I, inspecting, going to the kitchen, nothing in the trash can, brand new bag.
Right.
Now come out of the kitchen, make a right. There's a door on my left, and it's like a spare bedroom. Look in there. There's a cot that's been slept on and like a Bible and some other stuff in there. So that room's been used. Mm-hmm. Go a little farther down on the right is the hall bathroom. Looked in there, checked the trash can. Nothing unusual. Tissues and I think a sanitary napkin wrapper, whatever. Nothing funky. But the closer I got to the back bedroom, the not so great it started smelling. I knock on the door, nobody answers. I announce myself, knock on the door again, nobody answers. So I crack the door open and I kind of peek in, and with the curtains pulled, there's still a little bit of light filtering into the room. So you
Mm-hmm.
can kind of see a shadow on the bed. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm sorry. And I close the door. I really didn't mean to. I'm sorry. Nobody says anything. So I'm like, hello? Did I see what I saw? I'm not sure. So I kind of pop in and I take the end of my B&G where the tip where it kind of bends down to the tip, and I hit the light switch. I turn the light switch on, and there's this woman in bed with like the nightgown with like the ruffles around the neck and everything.
Yeah.
And she's got the blanket pulled like up to her collarbones, and she's obviously dead. I mean, face sunken in and everything. But her hair was brushed and she was looking like someone was maintaining the body. And I go out, tell the maintenance guy, I'm all kind of skeeved.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out this woman came over from Africa and brought her mother from the old world and found God, found Christianity.
All right.
More power to her. And when her mom died, she thought that if she prayed hard enough to God, that God would bring her mother back. So she was like lotioning her mom's face and everything just to keep her supple until God brought her back.
Yeah, because God does prefer the supple over the rugged.
Well, who doesn't prefer supple, really?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I get it. I get it.
I would not want a ragged pair, cheeks in front of me. If I'm gonna be tongue punching a fart box, I'd rather it be supple.
Oh hell yeah.
Do
you want to? Do you really want to tongue punch a dead fart box?
Well, if I had to, I'd rather it be supple.
Well, it's going to be supple because after rigor mortis sets in, things
kind of relaxes.
Relax and dilate.
That'll make entry a lot easier too.
Oh my god! Yeah, they do make special corners. Morticians do have special devices to help keep things from, let's just say, leaking out.
Oh, I've seen those little screw things.
Little screw. Yeah, they're like fucking screw things. They're like the things you put in an orange and squeeze it to get the juice out. But this keeps the juice in.
It's called an AV. It's called an AV plug. Anal vaginal plug. It's called. Well,
I'm absolutely glad you know that.
And they have these things that look like contacts that have little sharp bumps on them, because some people their eyes won't stay closed once they pass. So they got to pull the eyelid back, pop this thing on, and pull the eyelid over, and it kind of grabs on into the eyelid on the inside.
Oh fuck yeah!
So you got to figure,
not me, man.
On The Walking Dead, you got to figure there's people walking around with these plastic butt plugs and shit in their eyeballs.
I'm gonna put in a special request to the whatever funeral home does me. It's like I don't want those, man. I just want to like there. Then when somebody's laying there, they just go doink. My eyes just pop right the fuck open on them. It's like surprise.
Do you know that's why they call it a wake? Back in the old days,
they that's true. Yeah, because the body sits in the house for 3 days just to make sure that you're not chucking a live dude in the hole.
And some graves used to have a little rope string with a bell that went from the vault to next to the headstone, because if someone woke up in the fucking coffin, they could be like, "Hey!
Oh well, hell yeah!
What the fuck, man?"
And that 3 days actually does come from the New Testament, because Jesus was dead and he laid there for 3 days, and all of a sudden, surprise! Surprise! Here's some chocolate bunnies.
Have a hard-boiled egg while you're at it.
That's right. Have a hard-boiled egg and somebody ran a Sharpie across.
Let's see. I got, when you hear this, you send it to me. And thank you so much, because the stories are fucking fantastic. But one here, it says, morbid submission. So this happened back when my old man was running the show. He would hire the first guy that showed up for an interview, that it would be my job to get him trained up and ready for the field. Now, this one particular guy had me scratching my head from the moment I met him. A very strange dude. Not just nervous, but damn near manic at times. I hated him. And by the end of the first day, I figured that I'd still give him... I'm sorry, let me reread that. I hated him by the end of the first day, but I figured that I would still give him a chance. By the third day, I knew that he wasn't going to make it and that I was just wasting my time. That afternoon, I got a call from a buddy of mine who owned a funeral home. My friend told me that there was a dead rat floating in the water fountain in the garden of his funeral home. No problem. So my dead weight trainee and I headed on down. When I told when I told the ugly guy we were heading, he started getting anxious. Do we have to go inside? Ugh. I explained that in this line of work, we go wherever we need to go. He didn't like that answer. So we get there, and sure enough, there's a bloated rat bobbing in the pool. I tell the guy to grab some gloves and a plastic bag and let's go. He comes back from the truck and hands me the gloves. Nah, man, this one's for you. He gloves up, walks up to the fountain, then proceeds to put on a show for my buddy, the funeral director, and I. My trainee just couldn't work up the nerve to grab that waterlogged rat. My buddy looks at me. I'm embarrassed and whispered to him, I can't stand the guy. I think today is his last day with us. Then my buddy, who has a great sense of humor and I've had many a beer or three with over the years, whispers to me, can I fuck with him? Yeah, sure. Have at it.
Of course. Yeah, I would be remiss if you didn't.
So I take over the rat extraction mission. The trainee apologizes and said it was just too gross. Then my director drinking buddy says, I need you guys to inspect the basement. I've heard things down there. So my brave little trainee then proceeds to follow us into the funeral home. I could hear him sweating. We head straight to the basement and into the embalming room. I told him, you inspect this room. I'm going to go check the rest of the basement. And we left him in there, alone. Meanwhile, we're laughing our asses off in my friend's office down the hall. About 10 minutes later, we go find the guy. He was standing in the hallway right where I left him, clearly uncomfortable. Nothing's in there, was all that he said. I just shook my head and said, come on, let's get out of here. No arguments from him. As we were about to leave, my buddy, who I then learned was a bigger jagoff than me, goes, hold on. There's one more room that opens a door. Turns out that room was the display room for caskets, the place where you go to pick the final resting place for your dearly departed.
Right.
There must have been 6 or 7 of them in there. My trainee just froze. My cohort then walks over and begins to open one of the caskets. That was the breaking point. I'll be in the truck, was all he said, and left. Once I regained my composure, I joined him. It was a long, silent ride back to the shop. We pull into the parking lot, and he goes, I don't think this is the job for me. He got out of the truck, walked straight to his car, and left. Never punched out, never turned his uniform in, nothing. Now, was I a dick? Maybe. But over the years, my friend and I have laughed about that story over many beers. So maybe it was worth it.
Yeah, first and foremost, sir, you are not a dick.
No.
This is one of the things that you deal with in our profession. My very first day, my service manager took me to an incredibly bad apartment complex, Section 8. We'll go into that some other show. But, he gave me a can of aerosol, PT-270 Dursban, to be exact, with a little straw in it. And he goes, stick that straw in between the cabinets. I stuck the straw in between the cabinets as instructed because, I'm a good boy. And I hit the button and fucking roaches just poured all over me. And, I was a tad horrified to say, but, I also remembered that I had a 1-year-old daughter and bills to pay and a mortgage and all this other good horse shit. So I was like, fuck this, man. They're just bugs. I just fucking just took my hand and did this and just squeegeed them all off of me. And I was like, on the counter, they're on their backs. Like, oh, Mr. Harvey, spare me. It's like, fuck you. And just blasted them some more. On the drive home and back to the office, my brand new boss asked me, what'd you think of that? I said, yeah, that was a little bit disgusting. He goes, you think you can handle that? I said, yeah, no problem. He goes, you got no problem then. That was 30 some years ago. So yeah, I'm a lifer, and those are the things that let you know from the get-go whether or not you're going to make it in this business. And the sooner you find that shit out, the better. Because if you're 10 years in and you have to run across a situation like this for the first time, and then you find out odds are you're fucked because you've got 10 years invested into this stuff, and you're just now finding this out. It's like, what the fuck? Yeah, maybe you should go flip burgers, but yeah, I mean, the sooner the better. And if you can't make it, there's no shame in it. Go ahead. You leave. Don't clock out. Don't turn your uniforms in. Exactly. Cut your losses and find something else that's more suited to your delicate personality and constitution. But if you're in it, you're in it, man. And from day one whether or not you're going to do this for the rest of your life.
That's like when I had the brown recluse babies down the back of my shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll run you off.
While not morbid, was very amusing. At least the way you just fleshed that story out just so well, Jack. It was just wonderful. I mean, I was entertained. I wasn't just horrified. I was entertained.
It's a wonderful story.
Hey,
and you tell it so well.
You're such a storyteller, Jack. So, speaking of stories, I got more, man.
Oh yes, yes.
We're sitting here dwelling on a lot of shit here. Let's. I've got another one here for reference. Before I started my business, like the late great Ole Ivy, I worked for a small company with only a few techs. They built their company on word of mouth and doing good work for low cost in a community where everybody knows everybody. That will be important later on. Okay, that tells me right now this is going to be a long-ass story. But I had the work ordered to do an inspection at a home that was going to come up for sale. The agent wanted to ensure that all pest issues, flies and rodents, had been mediated prior to the sale. This house in rural Astoria, Oregon, was only a few miles from the house I grew up in the heart of farm country, mostly dairy, beef, hay, and the occasional cereal crop. I was thinking, it's the country. There's going to be some flies and rodents. How bad could it be? Roll up to the farm with the old tube steel gate. I didn't have a gate, bitch, so I hopped out and opened it up. I was hit with smells of home cow shit and hay.
It's money. That's the smell of money.
That's fucking money right there. This is one of the old dairy farms that was an original partner of the Tillamook Farmers Co-op, which, by the way, makes delicious cheese. The gravel driveway was long. Maybe I added that cheese part. Was long, maybe 500 yards, and it forked up to the top. Left to the barns, equipment sheds, milking sheds, etc., and right was the farmhouse. A little 2-story pink house with a half sub-basement, which is super common out there. Opened the door with the key the agent gave me. The smell of death and decay overpowered every other smell in the air and may have scorched my nose hairs. Brad, he's talking to me personally. Brad, I have never seen so many flies in my life. Maybe more flies in this house than I've actually seen in my entire life. Good news was that the majority of them were already dead, so there's that. Mm-hmm. Going to the basement with my trusty Phoenix flashlight, never heard of it. Wood-fired furnaces were also fairly common out there, and the folks would store firewood in the basement. I pointed my light to the back of the basement where the wood pile was and had about 16 sets of eyes looking back at me. I won't bore you with how I got these issues under control, but I had to find out what happened at this house. And here is where a small town thing comes back. I call a former coworker of mine at the sheriff's office to see if maybe I can get some details. Come to find out he was a deputy and did the welfare check. Where is this going? Hang tight. Several months. I know. It's like, okay, I am at the edge of my seat right now, so let's move on. Several months prior, the rural mail carrier, according to the deputy, would hand deliver the mail to the owner of the house, who was in her 90s and lived alone. She had come back from maternity leave and was delivering the mail as usual. When she arrived at the house, as she called 911 for a welfare check on the woman because the windows of the house were blacked out with flies. My buddy shows up to do the welfare check. Front door was locked, but the back door was unlocked. After going through the appropriate channels, he entered into the home. The poor woman had passed and had been gone for weeks, if not well over a month. Excuse me a second. The flies had emerged. The flies had emerged from her body, but more so. He stated that she was almost unidentifiable because the rodents had found her as well. Fuck. Like an all-you-can-eat buffet for the rats and flies. Chew marks on protruding bones and maggots on nearly every square inch of remaining flesh. The heart-wrenching conclusion to this story is that the woman lived alone but had a gaggle of children that lived several states over, and none of them knew.
Oh, Jesus.
Their mother was dead. Or maybe didn't care she was dead.
That's a shame.
Until being contacted by the sheriff's office. Jack, I believe you have a video of some of this.
A video of this?
Did I not send you a little video, a little snippet of something a little while back?
I think. Oh yeah. Now I remember.
Yeah,
I believe
This is probably the first story contribution that we have received on Tales from the Crawl Space that actually had a fucking video with it. Now the video itself does not contain, dead, unrecognizable 90-year-old women, but flies, and it was
I remember that.
It was pretty gnarly. Back when I worked at the Big Green Tea, I had a situation where I had to go into an apartment in Newcastle where a similar situation that took place. The person that was there expired, assumed room temperature, as the late Rush Limbaugh would say, and the flies were hideous. And I had to go in there, and my mission in this whole thing was to take care of the flies. We talk about, smelling dead stuff as far as mice and things like that. This is nothing like that. This is absolutely nothing like that. No. This is actually more. Jack, I don't know how a better way to describe it as far as humans, but it almost smells cooked.
Yeah.
You've been there. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
I mean, it almost smells cooked, and which makes it even more disgusting. So fuck, you go in and you deal with the flies, and that's that. But goddamn, man, yeah, I feel for this dude that gave me this story. So thank you very much for contributing that. And holy shit, man, holy shit.
Well, I want to show you something. I just found out a little feature of our new podcast host here, and
oh really?
Oh, yeah. So I want to show you this. Tell me if you see it on the screen, because remember we were talking about tongue punching in a fart box, and I prefer it to be supple.
Yes.
Watch the screen. This is what Brandon had to say. Let's see. Ready?
Bring it.
Do you see it?
Brandon, you sick fuck.
And I'll say this is a long one, but Mario chimed in on the chat, and I think everybody should see this, and I'll read it out loud. We serve a company which runs 5 huge cemeteries. It's one of the first places we send our new guy. And of course, we call the client to let him know there's a new guy coming. Send him to the cemetery. Fuck him up. That's awesome.
Oh, damn, Sam. God, we're really moving up in the world, man. All this different shit.
Hell yeah. We got the jingle on the show and the intro on the show instead of me having to put it on and post and everything. So I got a twofer story thing here. I got twofer.
You have my attention.
All right. Hey, bud, I haven't had quite so many in the last year or two, but the most recent one was pretty weird. I was in a unit next door to the one with the body in it, and the maintenance guy started making all these sounds in the hallway that I thought were kind of weird. So I leave the apartment I'm in, and I go over to the next one, and he's standing in the doorway yelling, and I look through the doorway, and I see someone in the bed with their eyes open, staring at us. I couldn't figure out what was going on for a quick second. And then I realized that he was yelling at this person who was dead. I couldn't tell from where I was at the threshold. So I walked over towards the body while the guy was yelling. And I walked over and checked for a pulse, and the body was as hard as a rock. Apparently, this guy had fallen in the building the day before and hit his head on the ground and subsequently refused medical treatment. Apparently, his fall was severe enough that he must have had some sort of brain bleed or something and died during his sleep, or, woke up and then died. But it was the first time ever found somebody with their eyes wide open like that. That can be disturbing.
Oh, hell yeah.
Seriously disturbing.
Yeah, definitely. Good Lord.
and he goes, and I also had and now forgive me, I think our friend was using voice to text while on the job, so sometimes voice to text tends to butcher things. So I'm going to do my best here.
Oh, this ought to be good.
Because I also had a pretty good one about a little over a year ago. I had a new female employee coming in to work a massive bed bug job with me, and it's called an SRO, which stands for single room occupancy. They're like really the worst and shittiest of all the places that you can live. It's like one big room, you put your cot in it and everything, I guess. Have like a little efficiency stove. That's my interjection there. I prepared her for beforehand about the nature of the place, and I assured her that while things can get crazy out here, it's usually not an occurrence. Having said that, the third apartment we enter, we find a guy who's basically what we like to call a blower, which is the guy who's been dead for so long that the gases are starting to distend his belly a little bit. And that's about to burst. She saw that, and the parade of cops and EMTs was coming in after that. And then I thought they better put a new job listing on Indeed ASAP. Believe it or not, she stuck it out and didn't quite after that, which I thought was pretty phenomenal for a lady. Are you okay?
Yeah, go on.
Get ready to barf?
Yeah, not anymore. Yeah, you had me a blower.
Yeah. Well, that's the reverse of tongue punching in a fart box, though.
Oh, hell yeah. When it punches back, yeah, you got a problem.
The sack that punches back.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Yeah, I went behind the pack a sack and I found this guy here. I was like, hey, buddy, you okay? And then it just blew up.
Yeah, it was spectacular there, don't you know?
Oh, don't you know? Shit. Oh, God. Well, I have a bit of a palate cleanser here.
Good.
I am, oh, shit.
Puppies running through a field of daisies.
Yeah, that's not going to happen tonight.
Little cute baby ducks swimming around in a pond.
Yeah.
Isn't it lovely?
I got a short one but a sweet one here, and this has nothing to do with dead bodies, but it does have something to do with dead babies. Was cleaning out a Tex truck that was fired for a hit and run. We found a most peculiar artifact inside of a Ziploc baggie contained multiple packets of the same two items: Astroglide and Arby's horsey sauce. We don't know why they were stored together. That's it. That's the fucking story, man.
Astroglide
and horsey sauce. I mean, I think the dude was going for the burn, man.
Well, I tell you, with the color of the horsey sauce, if he wasn't able to finish, at least he can make it look like he did. Because if he kept that horsey sauce packet in his hand, he could go, and it would look like you could, get a little Jackson Pollock on her derrière, and it would look like he did something.
Oh God, yes, Jack. But ever since I was of the age of understanding, I can't, and to this day, I cannot figure out for the life of me why they called it horsey sauce. Now,
it's horseradish and mayonnaise.
I get the horseradish part, but come on, man, fucking horsey sauce. That just sounds like somebody's jerking off, Secretariat and putting it in a little, tenth of an ounce little portion.
We have come full circle.
Control.
We've come full circle on that one.
I have heard about the Kentucky Derby. Every single little point of order here. Every single entry in this year's Kentucky Derby is a descendant of Secretariat.
Oh damn.
Oh, you didn't know that? I thought that's what you were going for.
No, I'm talking about horsey sauce and making it look like skeet when you can't finish the job. And you said it looks like semen. So I said we've come full circle.
Oh, it does. Well, it don't look like semen.
It kind of smells like bleach. It kind of smells like bleach. And, in a dark room, you really can't tell the difference. You just know there's something warm and white on you. I mean,
I'm sorry.
It could be activity.
We all know, horsey sauce, horse cum. We get that. But yeah, man, I shit you not. I saw that this morning. Every single entry in this year's Kentucky Derby is a descendant of the great 1970s racehorse Triple Crown winner, Secretariat.
Secretariat was a stud.
Secretariat was a fucking beast, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think any horse out there could outrun Secretary. It's one of those things, well, if Superman and King Kong had a fight, who would win? Blah, blah, blah. No, Secretariat would kick every horse's ass out there.
That's like the 100 Men versus a silverback gorilla that's been going around the internet lately.
That's actually entertaining to watch.
I've never seen 100 Men attack a silverback gorilla, but I guarantee you it's not going to go the way the guys think it's going to go.
This is actually the one I saw was, I think it was 10,000 men, or no, 10,000 silverbacks versus 1,000,000 men, or some shit like that. And it's like they all join into the field of battle, much like
I've seen
Battle
those.
of Falkirk and Braveheart, and just those gorillas kick their fucking ass.
I saw one with 1,000 gorillas and one Chuck Norris, and we all know how that ended.
Those gorillas were fucked, man.
Yeah, they were. Chuck Norris
absolutely
totally fucking rolled over.
Yeah, I want to go ahead and hit you with another one.
Okay.
This is one that kind of hit me in the feels, because I think we've, if anybody that works in this thing of ours has any type of heart, I guess, this is you're gonna feel this one. But even it's even the least of these type things. You want to handle things in a manner of respect and stuff. This is one of those situations where a person had to do what he had to do, and
right.
I would this person let me know how he felt by doing this, and I let him know. I said, he goes, I hope you don't think less of me for doing this. And I told him, I said, look, man, I said, I would feel less of you if you didn't feel like you do right now.
Mm-hmm.
And, because this hit me, because there been a couple situations where I had to make a decision on the outcome of something in order to satisfy the customer, get control of the situation, etc. So I've been in this dude's shoes, and I know exactly what it. But let's just get right to the story, so so y'all can figure out what I'm talking about. I had a job where I worked for Big Box, a raccoon trapping and execution. Only the euthanasia chamber at the office wasn't working, so my manager told me to get creative. I go to the site where I had caught the raccoon, middle of a town. No idea what I was going to do with this angry bastard. Just then I spotted a rain barrel. The client's wife was already crying that it had to be put down, so I told him to keep her occupied in their garden. Plunk, right in the rain barrel. Only there wasn't enough water, and the bastard kept sticking his nose out of the water. I got my welding gloves out, and I used a stick to hold it under while my other hand prying to its clinging to life paws off the cage to keep it under until the bubble stopped. Now, I'm not a cruel man, but this is one of the most evil things I've done in my lifetime. My heart was heavy for days, knowing what I had done to this thing for the sake of getting the job done. Lesson learned, however, and everyone after that, when I still handled wildlife, was a .22 long rifle to the skull in my own backyard, which is great because that shuts them off. That shuts them off like that's like flipping a light switch.
Right.
It's not exactly the most epic story, but oh God, I'm sorry. That was not the same story. But anyway, so that's where it ends right there with the .22 long rifle. Dude, you and I have talked about this, and I'm talking to the guy that sent me the story. I'm serious, man. I would have thought less of you if you would have just kind of blown this off. But that tells me right there what kind of heart you got. And I am honored to call you a friend. And you learn, we all learn our lessons in really hideous ways. Yours was a raccoon. Mine was with some fledgling pigeons a few years back. But we get it. I get it, man. I know exactly how you felt. We're in the business of unaliving things, but we've got to remember, everything's got a purpose here in the world. Sometimes those purposes kind of clash, and that's when we have to take action. My man, you did what you had to do, and you did it the best way you knew. And I understand why you feel bad, and I would have felt bad too, but you did not do the wrong thing. So that's really all I got.
No, I actually read a science experiment, something that's performed on rats.
Uh-huh.
They had put rats in to see how long they would swim before they ran out of energy and would drown. Now, I told a story like that about rats in a trash can. I'm not going to go the whole story, but when the rats were starting to falter, they pulled the rats out, dried them off, and warmed them up, and then put them back in the water. Now, the rats swam for about 3 hours before they started faltering. But once they took them out, then put them back in, guess how much longer they swam for? Over 30 hours. Because they thought that there was a chance they were going to be rescued. So they gave it 110% as long as humanly possible to stay alive for the hope of being rescued. So,
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Isn't it something? It's like we think we're dealing with ignorant objects and just basically one maybe a couple of brain cells away from just being furniture when we're not. Everything has an instinct to survive.
Right.
Shit. All right. Well, I think I've adequately brought the whole show down. So let's move on. You haven't said it yet, Jack.
I said penis when we were talking about the Tony Spangler's
Oh fuck, you
urethral
did,
sounding
didn't
rod.
you? You did, didn't you? Okay.
I did say penis.
Yeah, things got a little heavy, and I forgot.
That's all right. I'll always talk about my penis.
Well, I know you will, Jack. And, it is majestic like a bald eagle. So
it's a
anyway,
penis, it really is.
Anywho. Okay, I've got another one here from way down south, and I mean way the fuck down south. It's not exactly the most epic story, but it's got a mildly morbid twist. I was servicing a major hospital and medical clinical network. And one Friday, the contract manager, let's call him Joe because it's been a while and I forgot the guy's real name, gave me a call. He sounded frantic and he needed my help ASAP. Could I meet him that very day? Luckily, I was near his office, so I said, sure, I'll be there from 5 to 10. His reply, dude, I'm not at the office. I'm at St. John the Baptist Cemetery. Can you come here instead? Me, thinking, what the fuck? Okay, 20 minutes. He said, great. When you get there, ask the grave digger to bring you to me. I said, right, cool, totally normal. So I arrive, and sure enough, the grave digger escorts me to this reddish granite mausoleum. Joe's standing there, opens the mausoleum, and says, look at this crap. That's never good when you have a gravedigger opening a mausoleum and saying, look at this crap. I'm sorry.
That's not what I would expect to hear.
Oh, hell no. Inside is basically a tiny chapel. The walls and the floors are lined with tomb niches, each one sealed with matching granite slabs, proudly displaying the name of its permanent resident in bronze. And all of them, every single one, are covered with subterranean termite tunnels crawling up the wall,
oh boy,
busting out of every crack. Oh my God! You smell that, Jack?
Money.
Yeah,
I smell that money.
Joe points to one of the tombs and says, "This lady right here, that's the mother."
Your vibrator on?
Oh, me? Oh, that's my phone. My daughter's calling me. Fuck.
Okay.
Yeah, she wrecked her car yesterday, so I really don't want to talk to her.
Is she okay?
She's fine. She's fine. Her meathead boyfriend did it. Each one is sealed with matching granite slabs, proudly displaying the name of its permanent resident in bronze. And all of them, every single one, are covered with subterranean termite tunnels crawling up the walls, bursting out of every crack. Joe points to the tomb and says, this lady right... Oh, I skipped a little bit, but you know what? Fuck it. This lady right here, that's the mother of the owner of their company. And this Sunday is Mother's Day. He comes every year to visit her. If he sees this mess, I'm out of a job and you're out of a contract.
Oh.
Uh-oh. I told him I'd come back first thing next morning, do an emergency cleanup, and we'd figure out a more permanent solution later. So the next day, me and another tech show up bright and early. We scraped off every termite tunnel. Now that's dedication. And I went around poking a long, skinny injector into every hole and crack, pumping in insecticide. And while I was doing it, I kept thinking, man, this is so wrong. I'm basically spraying Termidor straight into the faces of the dead. I couldn't help but imagine the guy's mom riddled with termites and now marinating in poison. What's it going to hurt her? That mental image stuck with me for way too long. Anyway, we finished up, stepped outside, and the gravedigger was already waiting to patch the joints and clean everything up. Come Monday, I called Joe, and he said everything went great. The boss visited his mom, even thanked the gravedigger, and said the family mausoleum looked immaculate. Mission accomplished. Pest control beyond the grave.
Nice. Very nice.
Very good. Thank you very much for that story. That was incredible. And I'm still trying to figure out why termites would eat people.
I don't know. There's those wasps that the bees that don't use dead
the
meat
flesh
or
wasps or some
yeah.
shit like that.
So,
I've seen
exist.
many a meme on those.
Ugh, that's a nasty looking fucking hive.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, next week is Mother's Day next weekend.
It is. Is it not? Yes.
And in honor of mothers in the pest control industry, we're going to have more than two people, but two of the most awesome moms in pest control. Our friends at the Pestrogen Podcast, we're going to have Candace Nordquist and Jenny Wilson.
And with Jenny Wilson, yes, absolutely. My beloved cheese daughter is going to be on, and we're going to talk about my beloved cheese granddaughters, and Candace will also be on to talk about my beloved cheese niece and nephew, my cheese and chefew, if you will.
My running idea for the name of the show is Yo Mama.
Yo Baba?
Yo Mama. And it's going to be about being a working mom in the pest control industry. Oh, come on. Okay, we'll work on it.
Yeah, we'll work on it.
But it's about being a mom in the industry, being a working mom, and how you handle and balance the life with having your kids and having the job too. So, and I thought it would be great to honor moms.
I think so too. And we're also looking at another additional person on there. We'd like to get all phases. One of our guests has kids that are younger in elementary school. We have another one that's their kids are going through adolescence, and then we have hopefully a third whose kids have pretty much grown up and flown the nest. And,
right.
So we'd like to get every perspective on that. And Candace says yes, and he is wearing shirts now. I love it. I mentioned one time about her boy not wearing shirts, and it's been a running gag for years now. God love them both. God love a Nord. That's good. That's going to be our topic for next week, getting close to Mother's Day. So we're looking forward to it. And Jack and I both have a tremendous amount of respect for moms and dads everywhere that are out there getting this shit done for this thing of ours, and still managing to get home and spend some time with their babies. So yeah,
right,
absolutely. We love you all, and so Jack, talk about, speaking of Pestrogen Podcast. They've got a really good episode coming up this next week regarding Lyme disease.
Yeah.
And
this time of year, very topical.
Yeah, they're going to have a great guest. Sue Ann's going to be on again. She was on one of their previous episodes regarding mosquitoes, but she's apparently a tick guru as well. So we're going to be talking about that. And Jack does want to let all the ladies out there know that if any of them needs to be checked for ticks, he's available.
I am.
And
single as a Pringle.
There you go, single and ready to mangle. Pestrogen's just one of many excellent podcasts out there. Pest Perspectives with Sean Muller out across the pond over at the UK. That's dude awesome is the man.
He is. And fucking love that guy.
Exactly. Beauties and Beasties over there at the UK is another one. They have a great take on everything, and they are willing to talk about anything. As a matter of fact, Jack and I are both going to be on that particular episode sometime. We fucking forget when, but we'll figure it out. But you can look for us there. We're also going to be on Pestrogen coming up here in the next month. So Jack and I have got a lot of stuff going on, and some of the great podcasts out there. License to Kill. On the Discord server also has some pretty good podcasts. Also, when they pop up, we'll always be sure to try to mention them on Pest Control Humor Depot, my favorite group, and that goes with all the podcasts. We love podcasts.
We do.
Over at PCHD, and so we're willing to spread the gospel on them, and so we've got a lot of stuff going on. Next week, we're going to be talking to the mamas. And, maybe, coming up on a future episode, we got to talk about flies, Jack, man, because I'm telling you what, I had a fucking great experience this week. It got warm out here. A couple flies came into the house. My Max, my poor little boy, is deathly afraid of flies. He's a rescue dog. I figure that he was in some less than savory conditions and just basically became afraid of flies.
Sure.
He hides when they get in the house. Well, Alpine fly spot baked to the rescue.
I love that stuff.
Oh my God. Last summer, I fucking okay, and don't judge me here for not cleaning my shit, but I sprayed my windowsill in my kitchen right above my sink with a little bit of that Alpine, because I always manage to gravitate right there. By the end of the day, they're up on that shit. And I woke up this morning to 2 dead fucking flies on my windowsill. That shit is still good. I'm talking at least a 7-8 month residual.
Damn.
And man, I was stunned. So we're definitely, in light of that, we definitely got to talk flies. So that's going to be an episode coming up sometime as well.
I love watching that shit work. I was out the back of my house a few years ago, the old house, and I sprayed it around the doorway because they were trying to get into the back. And when they hit that stuff and they hit the ground and start spinning around, and
it's great. It's great.
They break dance better than that Australian chick at the Olympics. The flies break dance.
She was good.
No, but the flies do it better than her. So,
hell yeah, they do.
That's how good that shit is.
Do. Yeah. So hey, we got a lot of great stuff coming up, you guys.
Yep.
So it's so definitely stay tuned. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us, and I also appreciate you bearing with us while we aired it a little bit later today. So it's gonna fucking happen. You guys don't pay us for this. Fuck it. So anyway. So looking forward to talking to you again next week on Mother's Day weekend. So on behalf of us over here at TFTC Live, on Pest Control Humor Depot, my favorite group, on behalf of Pestrogen, Pest Perspectives, Beauties and Beasties, and all the other places, Jack and I respectfully ask you to bug the piss off.
Bug off.